Okay. Morning, everyone. How are you doing tonight? My name is Andrey, and I would like to talk today a bit. I would like to leave the tech out for a bit, for half an hour, and I would like to talk about people. You know, if I ask you to recall any defining moment in your life, any big positive change, and try to remember and track it back to the past, how it all started. And you will always track it back to one single day and one single event when you met some specific person. A person that showed you or shared an opportunity with you. A person who gave you some sort of an insight. A person who maybe referred you a book or became your life or business partner. So in my case, for example, last year when I sold my last recent tech company to the biggest media group in the region, that all started with meeting my landlord in the apartment I lived in Split, Croatia, which appeared to be a part of the company that eventually acquired my company. So, you know, conferences like that is a great opportunity not only to get some insights and to learn more about technology and things like that, but also meet more people. And we as, well, organizers and we as a speaker encourage you to be more proactive in meeting people around, okay? So, do you have slides? The clicker is a problem. Anyway, you know, especially in tech conferences like that, we put so much pressure, we put so much focus into the technology and we leave out people, but it's all about people, you know. So, me, as for example, when I was growing up, I was pretty much like majority of you today. When my family sold Gazprom shares and bought my first computer. And then I locked myself for several years in my room and I was coding, never getting out of the office and never trying to talk to anyone who would eventually, you know, use my programs and code. And wait, can you back? Can you back? Can you? Yeah. So I recently found this wonderful picture. When every time I put it on my slide, I get into the risk of discrediting myself. But anyway, this picture shows, you know, I was the biggest introvert probably in my small city of Russia where I was born in. But this wonderful picture shows my 3 best friends at that time. My computer, my cat, and the scoliosis that I got from sitting several years in front of my computer. But anyway, and then pretty much my life took a curve and I went to the United States of America, where I was supposed to do research on some IT project management stuff. But when I came to Boston, where I spent several years, the organizers of the program, they said, you know what, you're not going to be doing research. And I said, okay, what I'm going to be doing? They said, now you're going to be organizing networking and fundraising events. And for me, being, you know, biggest introvert ever, that was a killer. So I hated myself, and I hated what that initial time. And then during the first event that we did a fundraising campaign for some charity. And you know how fundraising events are done. You invite some important person. So we invited some billionaire who was supposed to speak. And then half an hour before the event, we had some sort of networking mingling. And I was, since I had any social skills whatsoever, I was chasing around, not trying to bump into anyone, until nobody would ever talk to me. And then, when I was chasing around the floor, you know, an old man approached me, extended his hand, and said, "Hi, I'm Ted. Have we ever met before?" So and that was really curious because at that time I was like, what, 20-something, Russian guy, not knowing anything. And then guy was starting asking some sincere questions to me, asking what I was doing there and things like that. And I explained him my story that I didn't know English that well, that I didn't know any social skills. And pretty much we talked so sincerely for like some 10 minutes. And then the guy said, you know what, Andrey, I have to leave. And he goes back on stage and he starts speaking. So that was the guy, the billionaire, who came to speak at that event. So his name was Ted Turner. Does anyone know who Ted Turner is? Yeah, he is one of the most influential people in media on the planet. He is the founder of CNN. So what I got right away from that meeting with Ted was, first of all, never judge people by how they appear, their dress, their age, their gender. The second thing is that if you want to be interested in yourself, be interested in other people. Because you know what? Everyone has an interesting story to tell. If you dug deeper in stories of other people, you will see that everyone eventually has some interesting story to tell. And then be prepared beforehand who you might bump into at any event. But the most important that I got from the meeting with Ted was that, especially in this sort of warm environment and conference environments and events environment, there is nothing wrong into coming into a person who you don't know, just extending your hand and say, "Hi, I'm Andrey, have we ever met before?" No. And then you start the talk. So for you here for the whole day, you know, one of the biggest things that you will get from this event is meeting other people. So if you see someone standing alone here, don't just be afraid of just coming out, approaching, because those people are desperate. You know, help them, save them, talk to them. So today I would like to talk to you shortly, within this 20 minutes or so, about networking and building relationships with people, okay? So networking, some people confuse the science of networking into hustling around, making sales pitches and giving out the business cards, but instead networking is all about just simply building relationships. And in business terms, for all of you here, networking is pretty much a marketing tool. So, and the goal of marketing, as you know, is to be remembered. And there is nothing better in the strategy of being remembered is to having a great, interesting story to tell. And you know, well, we are living in the world right now when brands and logos and corporations are being replaced by personalities. Because if I ask you to recall, for example, Apple, you would always instantly associate Apple with Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. If I ask you to recall Microsoft, you will always associate Microsoft with Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer. If I ask you to remember about Tesla, you will always recall Elon Musk, right? So for us as human beings, it's more natural to actually be associated and be relevant to human people, you know, not the corporations. So you are here as a startup founders, early entrepreneurs. One of your best strategies is to, you know, create your own story. Why are you doing here? Because you're doing this not just for this. You have some interesting vision. You have some interesting past. Can you go to the next slide? So, networking as marketing tool, you always have to know, you know, what sort of people you can have a synergy with. And I call it target networks, because there are different groups of people with whom you're going to be engaging, and your strategy with all of them will be very different. For example, I'll give you a couple of the target networks that you should be. Can we go to the next slide, please? So first of all is, for example, the clients. And we all know that we as businesses, as startups, we should know who our clients are. But also, we should always, you know, not only you know, be able to approach, you know our pitch, but also, you know, be able to, wherever you are, on the conference, on the street, while you're commuting, be ready to go up front, pitch, present yourself. But what's more important is actually discover and learn from your audience as much as possible. Because at the end of the day, not only the businesses who have the best product, but the businesses who will win will be the businesses who know their market and their customers the most. Next slide, please. Partners, the second group that you should target for. Partners are companies with whom you are not only going to be selling, but those companies with whom you're going to be synergetic on their resources. For example, imagine if you can have a partner whom you can cooperate with and partner with so you can resell your product on their customer list. Sometimes having a partnership strategy is even more influential and even more valuable than just having customers. Next slide, please. Investors, people who make sure that we can grow and scale our businesses with their resources. And probably you know that if you cannot just, there are funds and investors, but then in many cases you can just apply on their website, and in many cases you can just submit your proposal for the investment. But in very many cases this is just not a winning strategy. In majority of the cases, investors make decision on investing, but knowing the person, personally or through referrals. Next slide. Ooh. Can you go back? That's a game. Next. Mentors and advisors. Mentors are the ones who already get to a point where you are going. People who are, for example, experts in the industry or people who can advise you. And you know what? For example, I remember my own experience when going to one of the regional accelerators here in Sofia. And when you're going to accelerator, it's not money or it's not some perks that you will get from the accelerator as the biggest advantage. It's in many cases and in most cases that will be a pool of the mentors that this accelerator will be able to provide you. So when you are choosing between the investors and accelerating programs, always consider what sort of pool of mentors they're having. Next slide, please. Of course, the next group is employees. And even if you are a small startup with 2 or 3 co-founders and you think it's going to be enough, it's never going to be enough. So I encourage you to actually do what's difficult when it's easy, and know that in some time you will have to hire and hire and hire. And when you get to the point that you will have to hire, the hiring will be your big pain. So try to do it in advance. Try to promote yourself and what you do in advance. Get more and more contacts so when the time is right, when you're going to be having contacts for your employees. And the next one, the final one, please. Yep. Your competition. Sun Tzu said, have your friends close, but have your competitors and have your enemies closer. Well, I truly believe that you have to personally know and respect your competitors, because at the end of the day, these are the people who also do the same thing as you do. Next slide, please. So, as you understand, for each of those groups, we have different value proposition. We usually think, okay, what is our value proposition for our customers? But we so much rarely think about, why would somebody mentor us? Why would somebody invest into us? Why would somebody work for us? But we have to know that very clearly. Next slide. We should realize what our networking efforts are good or bad. And I think that the best possible way is to actually understand, okay, how much business you are getting based on your networking. And of course, when you are going to be started selling, you have to know, how much business, how much of the customers you are acquiring through the referrals and things like that. Next slide. So your networking efforts, as much as your sales and marketing process, should not be chaotic. There is some sort of a process which you should follow. First of all, show up. That means when you are on the conference like that, when you're on the street, when you're commuting, whatever you are, come, introduce yourself proactively, explain who you are, what you do. Know as much as possible about the people you are interacting with, and try to be helpful, because always building relationships is about first giving and taking. Secondly, follow up. After the event like that, don't forget to, within the 2-3 days, to actually, after you collect the business cards, send them a short email, a short follow-up. Hi, it was great meeting you. Remember we talked about this and that, and it was a pleasure meeting with you. And then catch up, propose to meet sometime, so propose to get on the call, on the Skype, maybe to discuss something something further. Next slide. And then after that, stay in touch, keep up, and be valuable. So I prepared for you some sort of a list of tactics or little things that you can always implement in order to stay in touch with your contacts. Because at the end of the day, you know, building relationships is not about how you will crash your tonight's party, but it's about being committed. It's about staying in touch longer. It's about showing commitment. So I prepared for you. Can you go to the next slide, please? And we're going to go for more things right now. So first of all, how to stay in touch, how to keep up with people you meet. Send thank you note. This is, I think, the best one and the one that will take you less effort. Just recall someone within, for example, this or last month, somebody who really helped you. And you know what? It doesn't take any effort to just send them an email and saying, you know what? I really appreciate what you did for me. Thank you. Without showing any sort of, you know, need or requirement or request from the other person. Next one. Share information. If you know about your people and about their interests, it's always cool. And if you are browsing through the internet for the Facebook, it's always cool. Find information, get the links, and send the links, you know, in the email. Say, you know what? I remember you were into, you know, snowboarding, and I just heard that there is this new board is coming, and I thought that would be interesting for you. Something like that. It will show your appreciation. It will show that you are actually care about that. Celebrate achievements and anniversaries. Just please don't write congratulations on LinkedIn. Try to make it more, you know, personal. Always have your communication personal. Next one. Send testimonials. Well, if somebody did a really, really good job for you, it's always good to connect on LinkedIn and leave the recommendation on that. And you know what? Sending testimonials is actually the best ever strategy to get testimonials. Because if you had a good collaboration and you're sending a testimonial to someone, this person, if he feels you did a great job for them, he will also send you a testimonial. Testimonials are becoming a new currency. As much as we are in the world of, you know, trials and things like that, if you got something for free and you would like to appreciate that and you would like to, you know, at least leave them a comment, a positive comment. Next one, please. Yeah, send referrals. Sending referrals means connect people, and if you know that you have a person who actually can become a client to your new connection, put them together in touch. You know, you by having this little action, you will make your new contact actually to earn money. Next one. And actually also what I said about referrals is that sending referrals works the same way as testimonials. As much as you start sending referrals to other businesses, people will appreciate you and will start sending referrals to your own business. Okay? Lunch and learn. This is a cool strategy. For example, every Thursday, what I do, I schedule on every Thursday a lunch with any new person that I met recently or to keep in contact. When you are on the lunch, you can connect even deeper. Next one, buy their products and services. I think that's a great one. You can just, you know, by buying products and services, you can really show what the person cares about, and you can actually show that you also like maybe their products or services. Support their fundraising campaign. This is a great, great, great thing. If your new contact is now, you know, launching a fundraising campaign, help them. Show them that you care about what you are doing. Send newsletter. It's a good strategy, or when you are having a list of, for example, good friends, and you would like to keep them in the loop on what you're doing. This is a good strategy to sometimes send within once a couple of weeks, send them like what you are into. Mention them on the blog. If you're writing a blog, this is a really cool strategy to mention them in your writing, so your readers can actually check out who this person is. Next one. Get involved in their social activity, of course. Next one. Reconnect over email. You know, if you haven't been in the contact with someone, just send a short email saying, "Hey, what's up? How have you been? You know, how is your daughter? How is this or that project is going?" Without any requesting for something. Because you know what? When you finally need something, and you write them, "Oh, please help me," that will not look good. So you have to really keep in contact with them. And ask for advice and mentorship. You are able here to meet cool people. If you were going to be an accelerator, you will meet cool mentors. Stay in touch with them, reconnect. So when you keep and when you build the relationship this way, they will come to the point when you will trust yourself as much that this person eventually will become either your client, your partner, your investor, your colleague, whatsoever. This is when you can really get the benefits of your networking. Next slide, please. So use your inner circle for what you do, because your family and your closest friends are your best ever fans. So they really have to know what you are doing. Because even if your mom or your brother or your best friend, cannot be your client, they definitely know somebody who can become your client. Network outside your usual ground, meaning that as much as you network inside the same groups, the number of incoming contacts you will go down. So don't be afraid of actually going out, trying to meet new people, hang out with some sometimes weird crowds, because as much as you're going to be circulating with new networks, first of all, your confidence levels will raise, and secondly, you will just be more well-rounded person. You will be interested to talk to you. Praise your referral suppliers. There will be people who will send you contacts more than others. I would say that for what I see, there are like 20% of people who are sending me 80% of my businesses. These are 20% of connectors, people who know this sort of stuff, and people who know people. So praise them. Get on a lunch with them. Say thank you to them, because these are people who will be referring you and your new business. And practice daily. Social skills. You cannot learn social skills by looking at me or reading a book on networking. I've been the most terrible, introvert in the world, but I just got comfortable with it. So there is no better way of just practicing and, getting here, engaging, and getting to know more people. Well, if you don't really like socializing, networking is not for you. But you should be able, and you should actually have fun when communicating with people. And you should, as much as you will start engaging with people, as much as you're going to have fun with them. And really, I advise you to practice more, engage more, have fun with it. And can you go to the next slide? So my final message to you is being more proactive in meeting new people, because you can still just expect what sort of people will come to you and talk to you, but I would like you to be more proactive. Come to people, engage, and I hopefully that throughout the next year, when you're going to be having new businesses, new and interesting positive changes, and you will track back where those changes started, there will be this day when you meet all those people. Thank you.